I do recall the plot.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Zombies to Zoinks, the show where we talk about everything from Szechuan sauce to Meeseeks boxes. I'm Daniel.
I'm Stefan.
And I'm Trask.
Sorry, that one didn't rhyme. I didn't think of one until I said it. So, how are we doing today?
That's okay, Daniel.
We're doing
I can't even do a Mr. Meeseeks right now, so I'm
no.
not feeling confident about that.
Yeah.
I think we're going to devolve
so
into impressions by the end of this video anyways, or the end of this
Yes.
podcast. I'm Mr. Meeseeks.
No, I can't do it. One of my buddies can. Oh, actually, I was going to say I found out my friend Brian can do a perfect hiccup impression. I was telling him about our podcast, and I almost want to like get a recording just to show you guys because he started like saying like a bunch of lines. He's like, "Oh yeah, kind of like this," and he does it, and it's like spot on. And I was like, "Oh my god!" Like he was like, "This is Burke." Like I can't do it, but like
yeah, my friend Josh was the same way with his stuff. So,
but yes. So today we are talking about the controversial show Rick and Morty by Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland. Take me home.
You do that to every single one of ours. So
yes, that's okay. That's okay. Yes. So, real quick, I'm gonna talk about this. I'm curious what your thoughts are as well. So, all three of us, we very much enjoy the show. However, the fan base for the show can be a little cringy.
Oh dear God, yeah.
At times, especially the cosplayers and everything, and the you need a certain IQ to watch this show to understand the jokes. And it's like, no, it's definitely a type of humor. Like, it's not your Family Guy sort of stuff. And I actually don't like Family Guy. It's where it's kind of like, Family Guy's set up as a bunch of vignettes with things that are relatable.
Yes.
Like that's the style for the show. And then and other animated comedies, like, for adults and stuff, like South Park is like, it started out a little bit different, but now it is like pure social commentary and satire on very specific topics.
Yeah.
And South Park, what makes it so successful, I think, is that it so yes, there's a bunch of crude humor which sometimes I feel like people can't look past, but it takes them a very middle road, a very middle country road.
Well done.
It takes a middle road where it's saying, look at both sides of this very controversial social issue. They're both dumb. That's the point for South Park, and they're very vocal about that, where they say, like, liberals are dumb, Republicans are dumb. You're both dumb. These are the things that are wrong with both of you.
Yeah.
Here you go. Now and then it's up to the viewer to be like, oh well, which side am I going to kind of? It's like, oh yes, I can laugh at myself and then laugh at the opposing side as well, and that's kind of why I think it's been around for so long. And I think it's a little bit different with Rick and Morty, is that the humor which comes from it is very, very niche. It's not that you need a high IQ to enjoy it or anything. It's like, these are very specific jokes, and if you get it, you feel smart for getting it, but if you don't, then like people can be like, well, I don't understand it. And you're cringy because you're saying, well, I understand it all and you don't, blah, blah, blah. And so that's where I think it kind of comes from. So, like, Is it the best animated show of all time? Not by a long shot. But is it very, very good? Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. If you just, like, sit down and watch it, it is a great watch. It makes you think a little bit, and it lets you kind of laugh at a lot of contrived ideas.
Sure. My favorite thing about it, I would say, though, is I love watching Justin Roiland talk about it personally. And also, like, I don't know if you guys have seen what he did, the piece he did where he analyzed cringy fan reactions to things.
Yeah.
My gosh, he's remarkably humble about the success of the show itself, and also he does find it as cringy as most everybody else does when it comes to looking at the way that people have taken that kind of niche aspect of it and really run with it into creating like a religion out of it, or a culture in their own right, I guess. So
well, in the how it's set up is like it's the stuff that they think would be funny. And so I can't remember if it was Justin Roiland or Dan Harmon that I was listening to talk about this, and it was actually on an episode of Game Grumps. I think it was Dan Harmon. It's the one who doesn't voice Rick and Morty.
Yeah,
I always get them mixed up.
Yeah,
Dan Harmon does or does not?
He does not. No,
does not. And it was Dan Harmon. And he was on Guest Grumps on Game Grumps, where they just like play like a really bad video game, and then they have a celebrity come in and like with them, and so they had like Weird Al Yankovic on once. Like it's like a bunch of it's stuff like that, and then they also had what's her face oh god, now I'm blanking right here on the air.
What you done?
Halloween.
Oh god.
Freaky Friday.
Oh, Lindsay Lohan?
Jamie Lee Curtis?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh gosh, okay.
Lindsay Lohan.
We said Freaky
Jamie Lee
Friday.
Curtis.
Wait, who was the other person in Freaky Friday? Who's the girl?
Jamie Lee Curtis, the mom. Yeah.
No, not the.
She's
But
also
who's the girl that switched?
Lindsay Lohan.
Okay, it's okay. All right.
But yes,
That's not who was on the show, but yes, she was in the movie.
yes, Lindsay Lohan was not in the original Halloween movie. Anyway, Jamie Lee Curtis, I guess her son or something was like a big Game Grumps fan, and so she like got on and was like playing Switch games with them. It was really funny because she's such a mom.
That's funny.
It's great. Anyway, so Dan Harmon was on this, and they were playing. I love this. They were playing the Mike Myers Cat in the Hat PS2 game, talking about how dumb it was. And he was kind of like, he was saying like, the show was created around like, okay, what do we think is funny? Like, that, and that's what we wrote it for. We're like, what show do we want to see? And he was like, you have to be your own biggest fan first. You should not be pandering. You should not be like writing to, oh, well, this is what's in right now. This is what's so successful. He's like, what show is not around that I want to see? Yeah. And then I wrote that. And that's where he said. And I was like, that's so great. And then they were also talking, this is funny. They started talking about, he's like, I'm going to create a game that is like, you're playing to not have the Cat in the Hat PS2 game be created. Like that's the video game. Just because it was how terrible it was. He's like, there is no life in this game whatsoever. But it was really great. So a little bit thing. I'm curious. I want to get a gauge on some of your knowledge of the show first, and just sort of the backstory rather than the lore that is set up. But like how it was started, right, guys? Like the show, pitch for it.
I know that a lot of it stemmed from. I know about the original Rick and Marty, or the whatever it was called,
Doc and
Marty cartoon.
Doc and Marty, yeah.
That existed
on Channel Zero.
Yeah, I remember some of that.
It started, so it started as a very crude, crude humor and crudely drawn, show called, I think it's like the Untold Stories of Doc and Marty, and it was spelled like, it was something like DAHC and MAHRIT or something, or TI.
Got a massive like Charlie the Unicorn vibe to me.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it had a big like when it was released, it was actually I don't remember if it was well received or not, but it's very much like like again, just very crude, same voices and everything, but obviously they couldn't do the full Doc Brown and Marty McFly vibes, so they were like, well, we'll just have like, oh geez, he made a time machine out of a DeLorean, like and Jerry Seinfeld. I don't know.
You know that he almost didn't get that.
Hey, we got a time machine.
Time wizard. Time wizard. Yeah. Were you gonna say, Stefan?
I was saying that Justin almost didn't get the voice of Morty. He was doing Rick, but he wasn't able to convince them. He wasn't able to convince them that he was able to do a good Morty, and they almost hired this other person. But he had one last shot, and he got the right direction he needed to shift the voice enough to give Morty more depth and more like fullness and less,
Well, they one thing that I thought was very interesting as well is they said, when they were doing the pilot and everything, they could tell something wasn't working, and they're like, okay, what's wrong? And they realized in order to make the show successful is they have to let I almost said Morty like win sometimes against Rick. So he's like, it's funny sometimes where it's like Morty, we need to go get these seeds, whatever the pilot is.
Yes.
And he's like, oh, geez, I don't know. I really don't. I don't think we should do it. And it's like, well, you're stupid, Morty. You're stupid for that. And he's like, okay, sure. Like, so they had to make it where they had to give Morty successes, and that was the way to give each character to actually have an arc. And I think it's kind of interesting that this is a show that, again, crude, adult humor sort of TV show.
Yeah.
And I guess we're kind of moving into that direction. But these characters have a full character arc, and their story is continuing to grow, which, you don't really see that too much in Family Guy or The Simpsons even, or
You get like a couple of episodes from time to time that really show
well,
character
it shows
growth,
character, yeah, but
not as consistently or overarching as Rick and Morty does.
yeah, where it's like each character goes from point A to point B and has a journey, and part of the reason is they set up each. They don't do it with the seasons, but they do it per episode, where they use the hero's journey setup.
Yes.
Where you have your call to adventure, you're entering the other world, you're battling monsters, you're losing the treasure,
Going to Blitz and Chits.
going to Blitz and Chits.
Yes. Well, and it's interesting because I always put Rick and Morty in the same class as one of Justin's friends, Alex Hirsch, who did Gravity Falls, right?
Yes.
And so it's that same kind of concept. It's just imagine if Gravity Falls was not just strange, creepy, and grotesque, and a little bit more adult than I think Disney was realizing, but also just like they throw in that extra nudge of Adult Swim aspect to it.
I love Gravity Falls.
I do too.
I was gonna say, have you seen it?
I haven't seen any of it. No.
Okay,
we got to get you to binge it so we can do an episode on Gravity Falls.
Yeah. I was gonna say especially if we're kind of talking about this. We'll allude to it a little bit later on what we'd like to we're approaching the end of our season 1 here. We're gonna end it on our 15th episode and then go into season 2. And Gravity Falls is a great one to talk about theories and stuff, which is something I think we're going to be exploring a little bit more into that.
Oh yeah.
So Gravity Falls, that's another thing. I would have to do more research because it is a very long series, I think.
No, it's
I remember.
opposite.
Give me time to watch
Gravity
it.
Falls
Is
is
it
super short. Gravity Falls is like 2 seasons barely.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, no, it's 3. It is 3, but the third season is short. I forgot. I was mixing that up, I think, with Steven Universe. But yeah, Gravity Falls is a great one because a lot of the mysteries and stuff don't entirely get resolved, and the last episode specifically has a bunch of little stuff to take apart, which Stefan, I'll talk to you about it sometime without spoiling.
I'm gonna say don't spoil anything.
And there's not just that too, but one thing I want to throw in there because it does tie into Rick and Morty is because Justin Roiland and Alex Hirsch were friends, and Justin has been on Gravity Falls a bunch.
Yeah.
There is a tie-in between the two shows, which lead people to theorize about that. But there is evidence of
I'm going to mention some of that in my fact check. But however, I've kind of phrased it a little bit.
Okay.
Where I'm curious how much your knowledge will play into it. So don't get it in for the sake of maybe revealing it to Trask, but we'll get there. Okay. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on that But first, let's do. We've been talking a little bit here.
Yeah, this was a long intro.
I mean, yeah, it's okay. But let's do our sorting session, and I want to keep this rather short.
Sure.
Here, because there really are only your 5 main characters, and then I have 2 side characters where I just want to hear. We don't have to explain it or anything.
My man.
Yes, we're gonna do the mailman from that one episode. All right, so let's do Rick real quick.
Okay.
Pretty easy for me, I think.
Yeah, I would say Slytherin.
That's what I want to do too. I was trying to think because you would think Ravenclaw potentially, but his Slytherin wins so hard.
Oh yeah, well again, it's he's very smart, but being smart is not a Ravenclaw trait. It's how the smarts are used.
He definitely has the overall picture, I think, of everything, where a lot of times
I've never seen him wear overalls.
Okay, next character then.
That'll be our show.
Yeah, there we go.
I've been Trask.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so I think we can say Slytherin because he is so vocal about what his intentions are.
Yeah.
Though it's not his fault. He's not full I'm in this for myself, because we do see moments of him. The one where it splits up into all of the different dimensions.
That is one of my favorite episodes.
I do love that one so much.
The first episode of the second season.
They don't like it. The creators,
really?
That's one of the fan favorite episodes, and they don't like it.
Yeah,
man, that is probably. I would say that Vindicators and one of the ones from season 4 are my top.
The train one from season 4 is my favorite. I won't spoil it, but the fact it gets so meta so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on then to Morty, and this is I think what we're going to have a little bit of a
big
dispute here, because I know Stefan, I feel like you're going to say Hufflepuff.
No, I actually have arguments against that, and I want to put him in Slytherin as well.
So okay, I can see why, and I knew yeah, okay. Trask, what do you think?
I I don't know. Part of me wants to try and make an argument for Gryffindor, where he's kind of like the Neville of the Gryffindors, where he's, doesn't have the, the outgoing bravery, but he has the stammering bravery, where he's like, no, Rick, I don't want to.
What is that? When
I don't want to do this time, Rick.
In Vindicators, when he like is diffusing the neutrino bomb, and he's like,
how many times have you had to do this? Too many, Rick. Too many.
Yeah.
So I actually, in this is where I think we'll agree with some of the other ones. I would say he's a Ravenclaw.
Oh,
wow.
interesting.
Okay, so we went 1 for 4 for all of us.
No. So my thing with that, with the Ravenclaw is, I think, I wouldn't say I think, Morty is the foil to Rick.
Yeah. He is, but I have another theory as to why that is the way that is.
Yes, is it going to be? Is this going to be Morty is like a clone or a young Rick or something, and Rick is like teaching himself on how to? Is it that one? Yeah,
and I haven't seen season 4, so I can't add that to my roster of knowledge about theories and using those things. But that's one of the concepts that I subscribed to very early on. In that it felt, especially once we get to the Council of Ricks and all the different Mortys and stuff. And
yes. So I'll say again. This is why I want to get into theories and stuff. So my thing is that this Morty is not what is it? God, what? C-137. Yeah. So I believe the C-137 Morty is not this Rick's original Morty, rather than being a clone. I think Rick and Morty, like they're not the same person. But this is, we'll get into that in another thing.
Okay.
But I was gonna say, so real quick, for me, for Ravenclaw, it's because of how Morty utilizes his knowledge that he has learned from Rick on their adventures, and he is able to. He lets his kind of his hubris is his kindness. I'm trying to think of the cloud, the goodbye, that guy. He wants to save him, and then he learns that he was kind of wrong about that whole thing. But he clearly shows extreme intelligence in situations, and he uses that to his advantage on their. It's not to say that he isn't naive, because he is only like 14. Yeah. But he has shown, like, while coming into his character on this kind of into outer space and on all these adventures, he is now learning to utilize his knowledge in the situations he encounters. So it's not to say that he doesn't have inherent knowledge, but it's the way he uses the knowledge that he possesses and learns throughout his adventures. He's constantly picking up new information and then utilizing it in future episodes. One of those being the neutrino bomb, where he's not saying like, his instinct isn't to solve the puzzle, which I feel like a Gryffindor would do. Or even a Slytherin, his instinct is to
remember how to do it.
It's to just defuse the bomb. It's to not solve the puzzle that it is. He just diffuses the bomb. He like it's the glass isn't half full or half empty. He like knocks the glass over. So he takes apart and I think we can see some other examples of that. And he kind of talks to less in season 1, where he's a little more green, but in some of the like season 3, he's able to pick up he's able to identify the aliens or the way the different dimensions work. And when he I was thinking primarily when he goes to the Council of Ricks in season 3, or he's like brought in, and they're like, where's your Rick? And he's like hold on, I'm the Morty from C-137. This is the situation. And he works on explaining that situation, using his knowledge of how the Council of Ricks works and operates, that if he identifies himself as the Morty of the Rickest Rick, if you want to get into that stuff,
yes,
that he might be treated differently than just another expendable Morty. So he's able to utilize that. So yeah, that's my Ravenclaw pitch. So I'm curious to hear yours on the other ones.
Go ahead, Trask.
I was just gonna say, I feel like they kind of they evolved Morty a bit. I would say there's a vast difference between the first season Morty and the third season Morty. I think because they kind of they had to tweak the relationship between the characters. I personally, like, if I go back and watch the first like 3 or 4 episodes, he is I don't want to say not like the foil, but I don't think they figured out the relationship between them, and they realized that they had maybe dumped him down too much. And even after seeing like fan reaction, they're like, oh, okay, this is kind of, seeing it on screen, I don't know if I like this relationship. Maybe we need to make him the more intelligent one. So I wonder if maybe we do kind of have two different House Mortys, in a sense of like season 1 had one relationship and one kind of character dynamic. Well, versus, and I know that there are moments where he definitely shows the that problem solving, that taking care of what needs to be done. Like when they go into the dream sequence, which is the 2nd episode or something like that. So he does kind of have that in the beginning, but it was a lot of him by himself doing that kind of stuff. Whereas when they built the relationship,
Scary Terry. I was like, which episode? Scary Terry. Yeah. I was like, what episode did they go to? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I think they kind of maybe transitioned him into a different house. So well, I can definitely see your point for it.
Well, I'm curious then. So would you say that he transitioned from a different house, or he was given more opportunity to grow? Is it a changing character, or is it a growth for that character? Because you could say like Harry Potter before he went to Hogwarts was very naive, wasn't as bold or courageous or anything, but then through his journey of going into that other world, that special place where he was able to learn new things, he was able to those inherent traits were able to come out of him.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. I would say that's probably the case where he wasn't given enough to showcase who he really was in the first few episodes, maybe. Whereas I feel like 2, 3, and 4, he's very consistent in his character, and he's evolved drastically from the beginning of season 1.
Well, would you say is that growth and opportunities for that to come out, or would you say that?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Okay. Is I can.
Would you say he's a Gryffindor or a Ravenclaw then?
I don't know. I'm still kind of on the fence about it. I can absolutely see your arguments for
Gryffindor can grow into a Ravenclaw. I don't know.
I disagree with that.
It's all about percentages.
Right? Let's see. Well, my only true argument for Slytherin here at this point is, I can argue that a lot of despite Morty's growth into brilliance and his own kind of independence, I think that there is an inherent selfishness to Morty as well, in that he, as much as he despises Rick's selfishness and the way that Rick's toxic behavior harms the family, I don't always see Morty. I don't see him doing always the right thing for the right thing's sake in some cases, and in certain
when.
Morty's own. Maybe I'm
looking for examples.
Maybe I'm missing some stuff. I'm thinking of the way Morty treats like his relationships with the girls specifically, right? And with what's her
Jessica?
name? Is Jessica? Is it?
Jessica is the girl in his school where he's like obsessed with.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I label that as one of the aspects of like sometimes Morty being willing to do things that are not exactly couth.
Would you say? Sorry, would you say that's selfishness, or would you say that's being a 14-year-old?
Is there a difference?
All 14-year-olds.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
no, I get what you mean.
Just with that, where you have your raging hormones and everything.
Yeah, I suppose that's fair. And then any house would succumb to that, given the age parameters. I tend to forget a lot actually about Morty's being that young. That's a fair point. Shoot. Look, I'm just trying to find a way to explain that Morty is young Rick, and that he will eventually, if he doesn't alter some part of his course, which might already be happening, if this theory were to be true, that he would eventually, turn into to Rick. But it begs the question of like, how the hell do we have Summer and the mother and like all this stuff?
I will say, so excluding that theory, because there's nothing officially, and I might be making this up for the sake of my argument. I don't know. Maybe Trask can look it up. That they said that was not true. That the creators said that.
The creators confirmed.
Yeah.
It might have been a confirmed thing that I forgot about.
Yeah. I know that they have like they've left a lot of things very ambiguous, but I'm going to say, for the argument's sake, taking that fan theory that is it's speculation. Taking the speculation out of it, what would be your basis for your claim of him being a Slytherin?
I don't have anything strong. That's the problem, man. That's the problem. There's nothing extremely strong that can lead me to looking at Morty, because out of the two of them, Morty is far less selfish in almost every circumstance, and so his ambition is from a different, if you could call it ambition, it's from a different perspective or different place than what Rick is, because he's always seeking, I think, to change Rick, or believing that Rick has a more compassionate side to him, because I think intrinsically Morty will always believe that Rick cares about him, even though Rick does a lot of stupid shit.
Yeah,
I'm just seeing a lot of fan theories and stuff pop up. I'm having trouble finding something.
Okay, and again, like I said, it could have been like another thing that they disproved. I just want to make sure I'm not going to be like,
no.
Well, actually, on Twitter they said
the
this.
biggest thing,
I made that up.
The biggest thing with the creators is they always love screw with people, including their fans, and that's why they would include in that Council of Rick sequence a Rick that has Morty's face and a Morty that has Rick's face.
Yeah,
and you just look at it,
and then even in the Citadel of Rick, the Rick Lantis of the Rick kind or something like
yes,
is it that one or
the
it's the one where
they're
I'm wearing a cowboy hat.
Yeah. Well, it's no, it's the one. It was the one where we don't see our Rick and Morty while they go to Atlantis, and we see the council. We see the Citadel rebuilding, and in that one we see they say what did they say? They're like, oh, dumb Rick. I mean, tall Morty, and it's like a Rick that's acting like a Morty. Yeah. So it's like, would they include that? That's getting to more theory. We'll save this for our theory chats in future seasons. Yeah. But because I want to get on to these, and then we can do our fact check here. Yeah. So real quick, Summer. I say Slytherin.
Yeah,
I was gonna say
that seems right to me.
I can see that. She kind of has that.
I mean, I
don't want to say carefree attitude about everything, but
I think she's more selfish.
She's got some attitude to her, and she definitely does a lot of stuff for herself.
Okay, Beth. I was going to say Slytherin as well.
I don't know.
And I think I'm basing this more off of some season 4 stuff.
Oh, okay.
So we can leave this one kind of up in the air because she has a little bit more to do in season 4.
Yeah, I'm guess. Well, give me another example of where she's exhibited personal preservation.
Fruitland.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Jeez, I'm just like, this is a family of flipping Slytherins for the most part.
That's a weird episode.
That's okay.
I didn't.
Yeah, but I get that.
I don't know how I felt about that one.
Really?
Fruitland was a little.
Well, I like the joke where he's like talking about how everything's safe. And he's like, "What I make?" It's like, "Oh, look, you mean like a rainbow river that you can breathe in?" And like, "Oh, I can drop.
Oh, I'll just drown myself."
Yeah. and then it's like the giant like mutated birthday. He's like, "Oh my god, I have no." It's like, this is actually hurting. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Okay.
And then I was going
to just cut you guys off here. We're way ahead of this on the reveal.
Yeah. So I'll leave that a little ambiguous because again, we get some payoff to some other stuff in the latter parts of season 4 that I don't want to spoil it for you guys. Yeah. However, I'll say, like, for me, I think she comes across as a Slytherin like her dad.
It just makes sense.
And that she's hiding it. Sure, she's trying to convince herself. Like she's convincing herself otherwise, but slowly she kind of like is coming into that realization because Rick has been out of her life almost entirely until 1 month before the pilot. And
right.
So I think that's what makes this special is that these people are kind of discovering who they are more and more through these.
Yes.
Now I'm going to say this one might be controversial as well, and I don't want to get it too much into time. I think we'll be fine we are right now.
Is this about Jerry?
This is Jerry.
Dobby.
He's Jerry. Jerry is a Gryffindor.
No, Jerry's a Dobby.
Jerry is a Neville Longbottom that never, or a Peter Pettigrew. He never gets to succeed, and he's always trying to.
Oh yeah.
His intentions are to be courageous and brave and everything, and that's who he inherently is. Yeah. Except everything is against him.
Yes.
So
yes.
That's where I think it. So I was like, maybe Hufflepuff, but I'm like, he's not loyal and caring. He is, and he's not selfish, but he's like trying to be the leader and be like, like we're gonna make the planets, and this is real science. You know?
Yes.
Like he's dumb. He's just a dumb Gryffindor.
Yeah.
Who's too enveloped in trying to be like he's like reading into the characteristics about himself.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like feeling those like those traits, and then he's trying to amplify them in order to be on the same level of intelligence as the other characters, but he's just not.
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely. I can see that. There's too many examples of when he's trying to exhibit traits that are not fully developed in any regard. Like he's
there's no base for it.
No,
but they're there, so he it's natural for him, so he goes into it. Examples being like the Christmas lights. Is that season 4?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, well this is not a spoiler. This is like a C plot for one where Beth is like, oh, it might be the first episode of season 4. He's like, he's gonna like hang up Christmas lights. And Beth is like, oh, you can't even, hang up Christmas lights without killing yourself. And we'll just say that he starts to do it, and then he gets help from Rick through things. And by the end of it, he's like literally just hanging up Christmas lights. He's about to like he's literally going to die. Like he's in a situation where he's not able to get out of it. And he calls her. He's like, well, I guess you were right. I can't even hang up Christmas lights without killing myself. So I won't explain like what it is, but when you see it, you'll get the payoff for it. So I think we're all on the same page that he's like a Peter Pettigrew Gryffindor.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty solid on that one.
I can go with that.
All right,
sense
awesome.
to me.
All right, well, we'll move in here. That was the last one. I think we're good on time then. I'll get into fact check here. So we'll go start with the first one. And I'm going to keep these very, very vague because you guys clearly are Rick and Morty fans, so you have a very high IQ. So I'm going to keep things to maybe about a sentence just to see, because sometimes when we start running into lots of descriptions, you're like, that's true because there's so much evidence for it. So the show's pilot was written in 6 hours.
When you're sitting there writing, 6 hours is a long time.
It is a long time, and you can spread that out. You could do an hour a day, you do 30 minutes, a couple of days.
I would say a 1 6 hour session.
Okay,
in
1 6 hour session. Okay, I believe it, and the reason why I believe it is because of Justin and Dan, and they're very much to me. If you ever watch them in interviews, fly by the seat of your pants. Don't think too hard on this. Just put up some shit. Is that funny? Yeah, we'll roll with it. Like
my only counter to this could be, it very well could have been done in like 3 hours, and he's just doubling the time.
Let's see how convincing the rest are. But I'm gonna say this is true for now.
Yeah, that's fine. The second episode in season 1 is based off of a failed pitch for Cartoon Network called Dog World.
That's flippin' familiar to me. I feel like I heard about something like that in an interview with Justin. That's why I'm like, I know he wanted to do stuff for Cartoon Network, but it ended up not sticking. But when he got the deal for Rick and Morty, I don't know.
I'll say yeah for now.
He's done stuff that's been more benign, and he's also like, he worked on I think he worked on fish hooks for Disney for a time. Someone did.
Okay.
So
all right.
I feel like that's,
we'll see what
that's a hard one for me.
I'm trying to keep my mouth shut as much as I can to not feed like little things.
Yeah,
understandable.
You're good. Dog World. Interesting. Okay.
Next one. The show is connected to Gravity Falls because of all of the the two creators, and they've also cameoed in both of the shows.
They have, yeah.
And along with there being a very popular cameo of the grandfather, Grunkle Stan, his cup and pencil and notepad or something get thrown into a portal in Gravity Falls. In an episode of Rick and Morty, they come out in a random portal in the background. That's true. But along with that, throughout all of the various seasons, you can see various depictions of Bill Cipher, like alluding to a connection between the two series.
Ooh. You know, I would like to believe that. That's because I want to believe that. So this is hard for me because I don't remember. I remember watching
for Gravity Falls.
News.
Bill Cipher. Sorry,
I was just about to say.
Yeah.
So this is where I can't really
no worries.
chime in because I don't know who Bill Cipher is.
Bill Cipher he's the main villain in Gravity Falls, and he's like a pyramid-looking guy. He's like a triangle.
I was going to say, am I allowed to look up a picture?
Yes,
sure.
Yes, it's a very specific cartoony looking character.
But it's also basically if you just looked up the Illuminati symbol and just found it everywhere in Rick and Morty.
The all-seeing eye with the top hat. That's basically who he is.
Yeah. Now, I want to say that yes, because I would love it if you could find little things like that.
I swear, watch there be like a picture of like
a picture in the episode.
No. I mean, it's all.
Yeah.
I have.
Now,
I think I know who the reference is. So
yeah,
I
don't
say yeah.
Well, it's not a reference. It's in the background of like landscape. So like Bill Cipher does not walk up in an episode, but in the background of like landscapes and buildings, Bill Cipher is depicted several times throughout all of the seasons.
Okay.
I think it's easy enough to hide. I know for sure they did.
And if you own the content already.
Well, they're friends. Alex Hirsch and Justin are they're friends, and they work together on stuff before, and
Yeah.
which is why we get that cup and the pencil and all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna say yes. I think in their minds the worlds are connected anyways, whether or not that'll ever come into anything, because I really believe Uncle Ford was a part of that original group that fought with Rick and I really do think that that's a thing. In my
That's
head.
J.K. Simmons, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. I remember I was watching it. I was like, "Is that J.K. Simmons? That's J.K. Simmons." All right, nice. Okay, we'll get on to the next one. All right. So this is another popular thing, but Rick's catchphrase, "Wubba lubba dub dub." It's
yes.
popular because it's revealed that it means I'm in great pain and in great suffering or something.
Yes.
However, the origins of this catchphrase it was an intentional reference to the Three Stooges, where what is it? Curly gets on the ground and goes whoop 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 whoop, which is also then used. It's used in Futurama.
Dr. Zoidberg. Yeah.
Yes,
That's exactly what I.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. No, this is true. I can confirm this one. This is a free pass for me, just because I very recently, like a couple weeks ago, watched the interview where he talked about screwing that line up specifically because it was written that way on the script. As you know, makes the sound that Curly makes, and then it writes out the whatever, and he just glanced down at it and then went back up to his mic and went dub, and they lost it in the studio, and then he was like, "What if that was a catchphrase? Like, what if Rick had a stupid catchphrase or something?" And then they rolled with it for the rest of that. So I'm gonna say yes, true. Absolutely true.
I'm gonna follow Stefan on this one.
Okay.
And say true.
All right. And then
I'm
the
so
last
confident.
I appreciate it.
Is originally there was going to be a code between various shows because there were three creators. One was the Gravity Falls one was I think it was Justin Roiland, and another one. And they all had pitches for shows that were coming out. Gravity Falls and Rick and Morty got chosen. The third one did not. However, they started setting up a hidden code between all three shows, and you would have to watch all three shows to have it be revealed. But it is unfinished because the third one never got picked up.
Oh. Wait, did you say who the three creators were? I just forgot.
It was the one from Gravity Falls, one from Rick and Morty, and then one from a show that was not picked up, but it started to be. I forget which one it was.
I'm gonna say false on this one. Then I feel like the way that Daniel makes his facts, he would have had the name of the show. To tell us what it was or who the creator was. So I'm gonna say this is gonna be false.
I'm trying to think of all the other people that they know, because they know like Pendleton Ward and stuff like that, and they work with them. But I'm just like the way that they work though as creators, that this is so up their alley. That's why I'm like, but Daniel could also make this up.
Okay.
He's capable of knowing this but the way that Alex Hirsch, like the codes throughout the Gravity Falls show, people could work towards predicting the ending before the ending happened because they were that smart at doing ciphers and
I want to talk about Gravity Falls, dude. You would love it. It's right up your alley. Like, it's like
They were so good at like finding the
I'll
hidden
watch
details.
it with you. Like I want to watch it again.
It's good. It's a very good short watch. You can binge it real quick. But Rick and Morty, I don't know as much about Rick and Morty's hidden codes or secret codes inside. So that's why I'm like, I don't know if Justin put enough of that in there to justify a third party. This is gonna be false for me. I don't know about you, Trask.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with false for this one.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
All right.
yeah.
So you're both saying that last one is false.
Yeah, we're both.
Yeah, because I'm hoping you haven't changed that for number of the first one.
Okay. All right. Well, here we'll go through now.
Yeah.
The show's plot was in fact written in 6 hours.
Nice.
That is true. Cool. The second episode in season 1. I forget. It's the something dog lawnmower or something is what it's called.
Yes.
It is based off a pitch for a cartoon or a Cartoon Network show called Dog World, in which 2 kids go through a portal and end up in a world where all the dogs are intelligent. Mm-hmm. That's what it was based off of. Snowball. It was one of the characters in that.
Beautiful.
So that's what that's from.
It was like the real quick, if I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was like the multiverse episode of Family Guy where they ended up in a world where the humans were like dogs and dogs were like humans.
Yes. Yes. The show is connected to Gravity Falls. The pencil and cup do pop through one of the portals, and Bill Cipher is depicted throughout throughout all the seasons in the background of some stuff. So it'll be like a control panel will be like a triangle with like it looks like a little top hat symbol above it and stuff. So you can find those. It's really cool to see them. However, it is not like it is. That's a true fact.
Okay.
However, it's not alluding to I kind of said this, but I don't think it's true. It's not alluding that it is a shared universe. It is more like a Easter egg as a kind of like the A113.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
not,
Where it's
not
like,
between friends more than it is anything else.
Exactly, just like that. Okay, so we have 2 left, which is Brick's catchphrase and the original the
well,
code.
then we won.
No. So this is what I'm curious.
Wait.
So the thing was, Stefan, you jumped really, really fast.
Did I?
And you did not pay attention to the wording that I said.
Oh, son of a... What did you say?
I said it was an intentional reference by Justin Roiland for the Three Stooges.
Oh,
however, so this is false. When they were recording it, Justin Roiland was drunk and did not understand what the reference was towards. So he just started making up noises. That is true. He was not making an intentional reference to the Three Stooges.
No,
it was a reference.
Oh, I didn't even think. Oh man, I'm so sorry, Trask. I got caught in my
Oh, you're fine.
You jumped on it really, really fast because it is very well known. Yeah. So that's why I changed the wording of it.
Sneaky.
Yes.
Yeah, he was screwing it up, but it was supposed to be. It was written that way in the script as a reference to the Three Stooges because he hadn't written that part, but he didn't know what it was. So he just went with whatever.
So instead of going whoop 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 whoop, which is how it was written, he just was like wubba lubba dub dub. I don't know what this means.
Yes. Damn.
Okay.
All right.
So I'm sorry.
Right. No,
so
you're fine.
the
That's
last
clever.
one, it is true. There were 3 friends. The Alex Hirsch, Justin Roiland, and I forgot who the third one is. And I wrote this fact down. Like this was not on a fact website when I was like pulling out some of these. I was like, oh, I know this one exists. So there is a character that appears in Rick and Morty, and I think once in Gravity Falls. I could be wrong, but he has like a bushy curly hair. He's wearing a yellow t-shirt with a football on it and red suspenders. And on his football there is Roman numerals. And that was the main one that was put into Rick and Morty. And he appears a couple of times. And I think maybe if you guys want to look this up on your phones or something to just see a picture of him, you'll recognize him. He's in like 3 episodes in the first 2 seasons. And that code translates to something. And it was going to be, you would have to have watched all 3 of these seasons or all these 3 of these series in order to get what this code means. And it was going to be a little bit more elaborate. And I think it appears once in Gravity Falls. I could be mistaken on that, but I do believe it appears there. But people have not been able to piece together what it means because the code is unfinished. But there's speculations to it. But that is a true thing.
Rainbow Suspenders guy is what people call him.
Yes, him.
Interesting. Where he's and so you're saying he's not in Gravity Falls, But the code
He's not
is.
in Gravity, but the code is somewhere.
Yeah, Alex Hirsch says Alex Hirsch reveals secret word on Rainbow Six Adventures Guys show. Okay, interesting,
Yeah, right. Isn't that cool?
fascinating.
Yeah, if ever I do a show or a movie or something like that, I'm a big fan for Easter eggs and stuff. So I think I love stuff like that. And one of my favorite things, actually, Stefan, I'm curious if you know, and I won't get into spoiler territory, is after the end of Gravity Falls, they had like a year-long code thing connected to the book that came out.
Yes,
And it was like a worldwide scavenger hunt in like the real world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they basically did their own like little form of geocaching kind of a thing where you went out and you found an actual piece of something somewhere.
Yeah, well, and it led to someone. Oh, sorry, I just got a weird text message about voting by mail. Anyway, and it led someone to a statue of Bill Cipher, like in the woods, like a cement statue. I was like, what? That's so cool. So getting into trailer chat a little bit, since we're kind of doing a mini like prequel to Gravity Falls. I want to do a live action Gravity Falls trailer. Like I did my Spider-Gwen one. I did like a Dr. Faustus one and stuff. I want to do a like it's a Dipper and God, why am I blanking? Mabel. Yeah. I was like I could see her and hear her voice. Dipper and Mabel when they're like in college or something and they have to go back to Gravity Falls.
Oh, like a in the future kind of trailer.
Yeah. But like live action, I always thought it would be really fun. So
that would be really
and so
neat.
Again, no spoilers. The whole series takes place over one summer in Gravity Falls in Oregon.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it would be cool to try and do like the original show's opening with live actors.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Stuff.
That would be. People have done that.
Oh really?
People have done that. Yeah. But it's really cool. Anyway, Rick and Morty. So yeah, we just had the end of season 4. One thing that they don't touch on, which I'm waiting for the most, is Evil Morty. That's what I'm waiting for. Even though they have said that Evil Morty is the same type of character as like Aberdolf Linkler, where it's kind of like just enjoy him while he's there, but he's not being set up for like. Even though he's like, oh, he's not being set up for anything, and then you have the season 3 episode,
and then he makes a return.
Like that song.
Yes.
Yeah. And he's like, now is the time for action. Where he becomes the president.
Yes.
But spoilers, he doesn't really show up in season 4 at all.
Oh well, that
like.
Well, they're signed for what? 3 more seasons?
Oh,
now?
They're signed for 7 seasons.
7 more seasons.
They're signed for 70 episodes.
I don't think that he ever intended for that to be the case. To grow to that level.
Well, I mean, but it was set up so cool. Like we're like it's the first season, right? Where he like has the eye patch and then he like shoves the wires back in his eye and well, because they said that they didn't want to make the series be something like that. They want it to be that's why they changed it at the end of season 3. They started doing weird stuff and then the fans were like getting too into like this whole Szechuan sauce debacle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we can talk about that whole thing. Where so the facts for that is they make a reference to Szechuan sauce in the first episode of season 3, which is the first episode I watched actually because they dropped it on all social media platforms.
It is what got me into the whole show too.
Yeah. I saw that and I was like, oh, this is really cool. I don't even know what's going on. But the whole thing with the Szechuan sauce is like the joke is not that it's Szechuan sauce. The joke is that it's a random thing that no one could ever possibly want again. Like it's like who remembers Szechuan sauce at McDonald's? The same thing as for me. I thought of it as, and I don't know if you know this, when Rocket Power was on Burger King had a thing where you could get a Rocket Power toy and then you had these chicken nugget pouches that you could put powder in. You close the pouch and you shook them. It's like someone being obsessed with that. This like limited time run thing. So
shake them up fries.
When they're so when they were pitching, when they were like storyboarding it or you're writing the script, they're like, oh, what's something that no one's gonna know? Szechuan sauce. And then everyone's like, oh well, Szechuan sauce is like the food of Rick and Morty, and you have to do it if you get it because it's so important. Blah blah. And that's why they got so angry at their fans. They're like, stop showing up to McDonald's and being angry because McDonald's also severely did not look at how popular the show was.
Oh no,
it
yeah,
so
they did
badly.
But dear Lord, by bringing it back, oh, do you remember that? Do you remember that year at UCF? Ugh.
Yeah. yes, I do. Well, it was they only gave each store like 8 packets, and they're like, oh, maybe like it's like for this weekend, go pick up some Szechuan sauce if you're a fan of Rick and Morty, and they didn't think that like. They're like,
every other person was going to order.
Yeah, they thought it was going to be like maybe a couple people in and be like, oh, hey, so do you have the Szechuan sauce? And they're like, oh, yeah, here you go. You get 1 packet per group. And they thought like, oh, maybe like, it was just going to be a couple of people. And then it was like out the door line. And then they brought it back for a little bit, I think. I don't remember.
Yeah,
or they're going to.
Yeah.
It was like a 1-day thing, and then they brought it back for like a couple of months, I thought. And then
okay, yeah. I never got it.
Yeah. I didn't either because I'm literally allergic to certain aspects of it, so I can't even have it.
I was like, I don't even want to, like, I appreciate the show and what it's for.
Sure.
And this is not what the show is for. Like, it's not for something dumb like this.
No, don't do this, people.
Yeah, don't or like the TikTok Rick cosplayers and stuff. Like,
oof.
But that's where, like, again, I'm trying to think, like, if anyone did this with, like, any other show. Like, I don't know, SpongeBob. Like, everyone loves, SpongeBob is it's classic show and everything. But it's like, imagine someone who got so into SpongeBob, they're like, well, I have to go get the pineapples, such and such, blah, blah, like, and then there's lines out the door. Like,
can you give me jellyfish jelly on my burger, please?
Exactly. Can you imagine Burger King coming out with jellyfish jelly?
But listen, I think people would go a little nuts for that at Burger King, and or like if Universal decided to release that. Or something, like I think people would be excited for it. I don't think they would go to the level that they did with Szechuan sauce because I think the fan base is different. I think there's a strangely ravenous nature to certain fans for Rick and Morty that
is a great descriptive word for that, ravenous.
Justin and Dan are very aware of it now, which is what I think is influencing some of their creation with the show because they understand the power.
Season 4.
Has? Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say. There's like specifically the train episode is saying like
I need to watch
screw
this.
You to the fans. Like like, do not look into this any more than it is.
Yeah, because I honestly think that if Justin had the chance, I don't know about Dan, but I know if Justin had the chance to reset time and lose those fans, I feel like he would. I feel like he would because he doesn't want any of that attached to his work, and he just honestly is if he just had a couple thousand people that really enjoyed it, I think it would be fine for him. He's like, yeah, that's it, here we go, I made art, enjoy.
Like, enjoy the show, but don't make the show your life. Like, right. Like, it's not even my life. Like,
it's a cult thing. It's a weird cult thing for sure around some of the people that are really, really invested in the.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of it's an interesting formula because it's like a cult classic sort of thing, but it's also in the mainstream. So it's like Rocky Horror Picture Show. Imagine if Rocky Horror was like one of the top selling movies of all time and everyone is flocking to movie theaters to go see Rocky Horror,
right? And
then at the same time you had people dressing up trying to go to the midnight showings and do the silly stuff and then saying like, oh, well, you're not the real fans because you're not doing this, blah blah blah. It's like, no, you just go enjoy it. So it's like that weird split. Or like, imagine people showing up to Marvel and being like, you're not a real Marvel fan unless you've seen every single one of the MC movies and you come to the midnight premiere all dressed up. You're not a real fan then.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's like, no, just don't. So it's that sort of
it's still impressive to me though to see because going back to what you said in the beginning about how he, you have to be your own best fan of your own work and not strive to create something that's already popular, that's in the mainstream. And I think part of like Rick and Morty reaching the mainstream off that basis is what turned them into trendsetters.
Yeah, totally.
Which is it, because they're gonna, whether love it or hate it, Rick and Morty is going to change the face of cartoon comedy for years.
Oh, totally.
Years, especially past.
And I think for the better.
I think so too. I just really hope that with this whole 70 episodes to go kind of concept that we don't hit the same thing with Simpsons, because you look at Simpsons fans who loved it since the beginning and they say around season 3 or 4 something went wrong and the degradation of the characters became more palatable to like a lot wider audiences, but it lost it loses the charm of its creation, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know, when talking about Simpsons, that's a great example for it. The way I've always sort of seen it is because I did watch Simpsons a good bit when I was like, 12, 13 and stuff. And I enjoyed it. And it definitely is a landmark for animation and an animation series.
Right.
Just for the whole history of it and how it, now getting picked up by Disney and stuff. Is with that, the characters have sort of fallen into their tropes and their stereotypes. Like, so rather than being their own character that alludes to those stereotypes, like just as part of their character, now instead of having the character, like characterization, it is now leaning into the tropes in order to make the character, like vice versa. Like, so it's like, aha, Homer eats food and is dumb. That's it. And so rather than seeing an evolution, and I think it's different with Rick and Morty because we're seeing a growth and progression for those characters. And I think that Justin and Dan are smart enough to continue that and have payoffs and change it when it needs to be. And again, I'm not going to be talking about season 4 too much. Season 4 is a very refreshing. Season 4 is like season 2. Okay. I think season 2 is like best Rick and Morty, where they've gotten past the hurdles. They're now onto what the show's going to be about. And then season 3, they tried something new. It didn't hit as well. They hit really hard with the first episode, and then they tried something, and it didn't jive as well or like work as well as some of the previous ones. And this is them going back to the previous one with a fresh take on it.
Got it.
So there's still a character arc, but each episode is still a one-off episode.
Okay.
So the character, which is different. That's another thing. This is why I think it's like the writing is just so good, and I could talk about this forever. So please stop me if you ever want. Is most shows like that, like one-off shows, it's you have the character established, and then it goes, here's the situation, here's the next situation. Situational comedy. There you go. Yes. So it's like so that's what's interesting, and I think that's what Futurama is, which I think is a great show, and they changed it a little bit, but it's why I think it got canceled like 3 times, is that it's like you have the character is already established, and we're going to put that character in various situations that are funny. Where the characters are in the various situations that are funny, but there's repercussions to to who the character is, and we can see that evolve over each of the episodes, which is great writing, where
lasting
it's still
impact.
Yeah, it's able to stay fresh and new while hitting those what works in a sitcom or an animated sitcom. That's basically what these are. Yeah. But there's still at each episode and each adventure feels like there's repercussions to it, which is lost a lot. Where you're at the end of it, you return to the real world, in all of it, where the character has learned something. Where before it's kind of like the character just stays stagnant.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure. I feel that. Good stuff.
I just like talking about stuff like this. Sorry.
No, you're good, man. I think
I'm such a talker.
We're at our hour, hour and 1.
Yeah.
So
that's it.
I'm feeling pretty fresh about it. I want to jump into season 4. Darn it.
Totally watch it. And,
you should, man. It's really good.
Yeah. The train one is my favorite, and I want to say some quotes and stuff from it. Paul Giamatti's in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he plays the bad guy in that one.
Very nice.
I'm trying to think. Oh, and also Elon Musk, he makes a cameo in season 4. He's is that the heist one? Is that season 4?
Yes, the heist is season 4. That's my personal favorite.
Is another. That's a great episode. Yeah. The heist. I would say the train one and the heist. I forgot that was season 4 too.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, it's Elon Musk as himself as Elon Tusk as a little cameo. Yeah. So. Yeah, awesome. Well, we'll end it here. Let us know if there's anything we'll be changing up the formula a little bit. I want to talk more about like theories and pitches and stuff for more things, especially with the I could talk for years about the Marvel, Sony, MCU, Disney Plus, like that whole thing that's going on right now, and the information that's coming out daily for it. I want to talk about it. Same with the Snyder Cut and Wonder Woman 1984, because that news just got dropped. They pushed it back to October. But they're doing some new stuff with that too, as well as the Robert Pattinson Batman. I guess these are all superhero stuff that I'm talking about, but like I could spiel on that forever.
Sure.
So I know I think I really want to. For season 2, I want to go back to Ghostbusters, Stefan. I want to have a Ghostbusters episode with you because you had a bunch of really cool stuff to say that I didn't know
about the creation
before.
of it. Yeah.
About the creation of it, especially leading into Ghostbusters 3 and kind of theorizing what that might be about a little bit more.
Which I personally still consider Ghostbusters 4 at this point, based on what the writers have said and the actors about the game.
No, they said it's completely different, didn't they?
No, the game is canon according to Dan Aykroyd.
Okay, I gotta check it out then.
Which is why they spent time remastering it for the newest system. Yeah.
Oh, wait, you said the game or the
game?
Oh,
they remastered the Ghostbusters 3 game.
I thought you were saying yes, the game is canon. I thought you were saying Ghostbusters 2015 or whatever.
No,
not
that.
Ghostbusters.
No.
That is not canon.
It's a whole different universe.
What? I was like, what? That's who? Yes, Ghostbusters the 3, the game is canon.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Cool. I actually need to play that. It's on Switch. It was on sale the other day. But yeah. All right. Well. I'm Daniel.
I'm Stefan.
And I'm Trask.
And I don't know. I'm Mr. Meeseeks. Look at me.
Yeah, I'm the Chris I do in the job. It makes me feel like I'm ruling the